Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to start with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot as a primer for my eyeshadow. And then I'm going to use the Makeup Geek in the Nude palette. And the first shade I'm using from this palette is called So Pale. And I'm using this to highlight my brow bone using my MAC 242 brush. If I had to choose like one brand of eyeshadows, which I had to use for the rest of my life, I would say Makeup Geek because the texture is so amazing. I really enjoy using their products. So now I'm going to use the Anytude eyeshadow shields, which are available at my own website, which I will link down in the description bar. And this, for especially this eye look, would be really helpful. But later on in this video you will see why. It just comes in really handy when you create a wing or a smoked out wing. In this case, it's like a guideline. So now I'm going in with the shade Buffed and I'm going to blend this all over in my crease. This will be my transition shade, so this is like the first shade that I apply in my crease, which will make it easier for all my other shades to blend in later on. But I'm not going to apply a lot of shades in my crease this time. I want to keep it super soft but glam. So I'm just blending this back and forth using my blending brush from the brand Makeup Addiction. And I'm just slowly building it up by going in with more and more product. So now I'm going back in with the shade So Pale, same shade as I used for underneath the brows. And I'm just applying a little bit of this all over my eyelid. And to make sure that it's well blended in with my crease, I'm going back with that blending brush and just blending a little bit around the edges. So now I'm going in with the shade Tan Lines. And I'm also going to blend this in my crease, but I'm focusing a little bit more at the outer V, so the outer end of my crease. I just wanted it to be slightly darker and it'll have a little bit more warmth. And once I have blended that in my outer V, I'm also going more towards my whole crease. So now I'm using my Sigma Wicked Gel Eyeliner using a eyebrow brush. You can use any brush as long as it just works for you. And I'm going to create a super tiny line, and the shadow shield comes in really handy because it makes it just easier to create a thin line because you're leaning with your brush on the shadow shield, so you don't have to be afraid that you go too much low, if you know what I mean. It just stops where your shadow shield starts. So now I'm going in with the Tan Lines eyeshadow again using my Morphe M506 brush, and I'm going to blend a little bit of that right on top of that line. And since I have also blended this in my crease, it looks very natural and it won't look super harsh. Also because it's a very sheer shade. Well, not really sheer, but it's a light shade, so you can't really go wrong with this. And I'm just blending back and forth. Also because I'm blending this like straight on top of the gel eyeliner, it kind of smudges together. So now to make it more dark, I'm going in with the shade Cabin Fever. And I'm doing exactly the same thing as I did with the shade Tan Lines. I'm just trying to slowly build it up by going darker and darker. But I always try to be very careful with this, that I don't go too dark in once. So I kind of ruin it. So I always kind of play safe with this. Maybe some of you watch this and you're like, well, you can go straight in with dark and blend it out with lighter shades. Well, that's also an option, but for me personally, this just works best, even though it requires a lot of steps. So now I'm going in with the shade Dark Roast, and this is an even darker shade. And I'm just doing the same thing and blending this on top of the other shades, on top of the Tan Lines and Cabin Fever shade. I'm just blending all these shades on top of each other. But yeah, I just feel like it's necessary to first go in with lighter shades to make it easier. So now I'm going in with a single eyeshadow from Makeup Geek, which is called Corrupt. This is just a matte black eyeshadow. And I'm going to blend this on top of that as well. But I'm trying to keep it a little bit more low so you can still see the shades above it, which I have just applied. But I really wanted it to be like as intense as possible because I want it to look like an eyeliner, but like a smudged eyeliner. So you really need a black eyeshadow for this. If you want to keep it more natural and you don't want to go in with black, of course you can do that. You can give your whole own twist to this. You don't have to do like all these steps that I'm doing, but I just hope that this is helpful for any of you that want to create a smoked winged line. So because I went in with the black, I want to go back in with the dark rose shade to make it a little bit less harsh around the edges. I have said this in many of my videos, but every time I go in with a super dark shade, I always go back in with a shade which is lighter to make it less harsh. So now I'm going back in with my Sigma Wicked Gel Eyeliner, and I'm just going to create a line above my lash line, just like how I would normally apply eyeliner above my lash line. I didn't really like how the gel eyeliner looked. It was a little bit chalky. So I'm going on top of that using my NYC liquid liner, and this just gives a much more perfect line. It just seals everything and it makes sure that you won't see any skin in between the eyeliner. Sometimes, you know, when you apply gel eyeliner, it's a little bit dry and you see those little stripes of skin in between. Super annoying, but this eyeliner really fixes it. So now I'm going in with my Makeup Geek Corrupt eyeshadow again. I applied a super tiny line as a wing, and I'm going to kind of fill in my cat wing using the Corrupt eyeshadow. I didn't want it to create like a cat wing using eyeliner because that will make it look super harsh. We still want that like smudged out effect. So that's why I'm using this Corrupt eyeshadow. And the brush that I'm using is a Dose of Colors pencil brush. And the other brush that I used is a Morphe M506, but I will link it all down in the description bar. So now I've removed my shadow shield, and you can see it did leave some damage underneath my eyes, so I should have applied them a little bit more differently, but I have just fixed it with some concealer. So now I'm going in with this blacker highliner pencil by Marc Jacobs, and I'm going to apply this in my waterline. I have done a sort of familiar or similar, I'm not sure what the word is, but a video that looks a lot like the look that I created here. But I wanted to give it a different twist because I kept that video matte, so I wanted to use glitter for this one and do a smoky lower lash line. So I'm going back in with that Corrupt eyeshadow, and I'm using a super tiny brush from Suiva. And I'm just blending this underneath my lower lash line to make it extra black. And I feel like this complements really well with the smoked out wing liner. And I'm using a combination of Tan Lines and Cabin Fever to blend out that black. And I'm still using that same pencil brush by Dose of Colors in order to blend this out. So now for the glitter, I'm going to use the MAC Reflex Gold glitter, one of my favorite glitters. I've said this so often, but I really feel like you need this in your life. It's just a really pretty glitter. And to apply this, I'm using my MAC Mixing Medium Gel. And I do have to say, you need to be super careful with this. I just applied a very tiny amount on my brush, just so that it's a little bit damped and sticky, but not too much. Because if you go too tacky or sticky with your brush, the glitters will clump together and it will look super thick. But for this, you really want the glitters to be like super gentle. And I felt like that really made this look super glam and soft. So yeah, really be careful with this. So now for my mascara, I use the MAC Bad and Bold Lash Mascara, one of my favorites, because it has a thick applicator and a thin one. And I really like to use a combination of these two. And now for my lashes, I'm using my own Sultry lashes. I have a special discount code which will give you a discount. I will link everything down in the description bar. This is one of my favorite lash styles for every time I do a eye look on YouTube. And yeah, this is already the end of the video. I really hope you enjoy watching. I think this is one of my favorite looks I've ever done. I just feel like it's so pretty, sexy. You can use it for any occasion. And yeah, I just hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy. This will be really sweet. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys!